guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, the lovely Leah and Michelle. Today is the 1st of September, 2019. I can't believe it's September already, right? It kind of feels like it still should be summer.
Where have you gone? The kiss of summer. I belong to you. It's sad. And I thought I did not know that today was Sunday, so I...
That was so great.
Missed a day somewhere, somehow, over the rainbow. Today was Saturday for me. Wasn't expecting a UK show.
I literally came down later and she's like, please tell me that this is April Fool's Day. And I said, Happy April Fool's Day. And she said, you don't mean it.
I'm actually excited to do the show. I look forward to doing the show. I just wasn't ready to do the show because it was Saturday.
Right.
So, but the show is ready. I have the show in my head. I've had the show in my head this week because of Salvini. And I didn't get to talk to you guys right when Salvini was pushed out of government. So as everybody's coming, we have a lot to go over. We have a lot of good news. There's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to Europe, and that's what we do on Sunday's show. We cover the EU, European
all around
news,
the world,
and basically world news. But we really try to focus on our kind of Western brothers and sisters, Christian brothers and sisters, kind of what we really like to focus on.
Right.
Just, you can't do everything, but that's our focus, supporting Christianity, supporting freedom, which is why that we are really, really, really supporting and want to showcase the Hong Kong protests, because many of them are Christians, and we want to support their fight for a new Democratic Republic of Hong Kong.
That sounds really nice. The Democratic Republic of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Maybe they could steal that.
Yeah. Okay, so the big story, and I guess I'll just start with this, is Matteo Salvini. I was hit with this news kind of broadsided. We covered last week that now Matteo was making his move to call for snap elections. He has 40% support of the people in Italy. When he came into government, he was the weaker party of the coalition that was supposed to be anti-establishment. Now, everybody wondered how this strange coalition would work between Conte and Salvini, because the Five-Star Movement, while it is very much anti-establishment and wanted to take on the EU, I'm trying to find the article that I want to bring up here about this. They're a leftist party. They are a leftist party. Now, they ran actually on a anti-mass migration platform just like Salvini did. But what happened is Salvini, I don't know if he made a wrong calculation or if he says he's not out right now. But let me tell you what happened. So this was before. Let me give you this article was this left-wing Democrat Party, a member of the left-wing Democrat Party in Italy, which is looking to form a new government coalition, which did form a new government coalition, has called for a noose to be prepared for populist leader Matteo Salvini. Now, there was a video going around where you had Conte, with the leader of the Five-Star Movement, secretly talking, but somebody recorded, to Angela Merkel saying, I'm going to work this out and we'll allow more migration. Okay? And she sits there with her. How she has that much power, I don't know. I never see her speak. But this PD politician, Alessandro Navini, who serves as counselor to the municipality of Formigine, wrote that Salvini was a dangerous fool and we will prepare a noose. Senator Lucia Borgonzoni, a member of Salvini's Lega Party, condemned the remarks, saying, they instigate to hang Salvini and then they say we are the fascists and the villains.
Wow.
So it makes more sense to call Italians fascists than anybody else. But let's just, for argument's sake, say,
wow, Leah,
everybody on the right
is
a fascist, whether you're truly in fascist country,
right,
or whether you're in. I have a video with Avi in talking in a
Abiy
Yamini talking with protesters, pro-Hong Kong protesters, back when he was back in Australia. He went to Hong Kong, so we're going to show you some of that video, telling him he's a fascist and a racist. You know, so like everybody's a fascist and a racist. So once again, there are Democrats, philanthropists, and pluralist exponents of the Democrat Party who contemplate eliminating Matteo Salvini by killing him. Yay. Matteo Salvini also replied to the comment saying he had been threatened by all types of mafia groups since coming into office, and he would not be intimidated by them or a member of the Democratic Party. So there was that, and that was like a little terse example of the kind of exchange that was going back and forth between Salvini and the Democrat, or I don't know what they call themselves. So this is Conte. He betrayed the people. The people voted for an anti-establishment party. What they did to oust Salvini was go against the will of the people and form their coalition government with the establishment that the people overwhelmingly rejected. Remember, the establishment was the establishment in power.
Yeah.
When it came time for these new elections, they elected the Five Star Movement because I think that they had a really good, strong message of anti-establishment. We're gonna, we're gonna end corruption and things like that. And then they formed this coalition with Salvini, and they kind of made it work. But this guy was not hardline on migration at all. He wants to open the borders. And Salvini was putting his foot down. So he realized that he was the most popular. Salvini is the most popular politician in Italy. And he still is. He's going to still fight. It's not over. But I need to tell you guys what is happening right now, because we talk about Salvini pretty much in a positive way every single Sunday. He's doing something awesome.
Which I think also goes to show our unbiasedness, right? Because he is a socialist.
Well, Salvini is actually...
I mean, he's less socialist than... It's kind of like the UK.
As right-wing as you can get.
Right, but in like the UK and in Europe, everybody's a socialist.
Right, exactly. So Italy's caretaker Prime Minister Conte has accepted a mandate to form a new coalition with the anti-establishment Five Star Movement and the left-wing Democratic Party after the former Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini pulled out of the governing partnership with the M5S. President Sergio Mattarella's spokesman Giovanni Grasso said that the Democratic Party and M5S, the Five Star Movement, reached a deal on Wednesday, which returns Conte to his role after he resigned. He resigned his post last week. The move forced a collapse between the Right Populist League, headed by Matteo Salvini, who held the positions of Deputy Prime Minister and Interior Minister, and the anti-establishment, the Five Star Movement, headed by Luigi Di Maio, who was formerly the Deputy Prime Minister. Not belonging to either of the new coalition parties, Prime Minister Conte, however, said to be close to the Five Star Movement, and was highly critical of Mr. Salvini's hardline position on illegal immigration. The former Interior Minister had reduced the mass flow of illegals across the Mediterranean Sea to a trickle after the country had suffered under the previous Democrat Party's open borders programs. Mr. Salvini's policies included denying migrant transport ships. Now, he's not out yet. He's like, it wasn't like immediate.
Well, okay,
so he's still there for just a second.
Yeah, but okay, I thought what you were going to say is that he's actually not going to be out as far as holding his office. You have to understand the way the Italian government works. I mean, they, like you said, they form these coalitions. Everybody, it's just like the UK, you get elected as your office, and then there's a leader of a party. Yeah. That then is the prime minister, the majority party that gets all the votes.
Well, here's the thing. He's not part of the government. So he's not deputy prime minister. He's not the interior minister anymore.
Right.
Yeah, but he still has some...
He's in his party. He was elected in his party.
Right, but what I'm saying is that there's an interim move right now. What I'm trying to get at is Salvini has issued a new migrant ban. He's not out just
right,
yet, is what
exactly.
I'm explaining.
Yes, I know, but that made me think of the other part.
Okay. So you've got this new, let's see. All right, so after the government's collapse, the new Interior Ministry's first move was to allow the sick women and children aboard the Mari Anoi to enter the country, signaling to the NGOs that illegal migrant trafficking is open for business.
I think that's just oinoi.
Okay. Prime Minister Conte said after receiving the mandate, it will be a government for the good of the citizens, to modernize the country, to make our nation even more competitive internationally, and also be a more just and more supportive and more inclusive.
No. We're done being inclusive. Inclusivity, bad. Carry on.
So, however, this new five-star left-wing coalition is not a done deal. With the arrangement, here's the thing. The arrangement actually needs the approval of Parliament in a confidence vote. So, in the next few days, Conte will need to choose his cabinet, which with clashes likely to occur between the Five-Star Movement and the Democrat Party over who will take the top government posts. Some of the Democratic Party wish to remove all past associations with the Lega coalition, including replacing Conte, who the Five-Star Movement is keen to retain. The Maia wants to be reinstated as deputy prime minister. That request reportedly denied by the Democrat Party on the grounds that the anti-establishment group has already had its pick of prime minister, insisting the new deputy must come from their party. A further complication remains that the Five Stars structure demands any future coalition deal must be put to its party members. So many members have denounced the proposed pact because you might have people in the leadership who want to sell out the people.
Yeah.
But you might have people in the Five-Star Movement who were elected who don't approve of this.
Exactly. I'm sure there are many, probably
so
even a majority.
So if the people who are in office under the Five-Star Movement reject this deal, there's no deal.
No deal.
So Salvini is highly skeptical of this new alliance between the former political foes, remarking, "The only glue is the hatred of the Lega," calling the proposed government an insult to democracy. Expressing his confidence that that in the next election, the Lega, which pulled off a historic election win in May's European Parliament elections, would be returned to power by the people, he added. But in any case, sooner or later, be it in a month, a year, or 2 years, we'll have to go back to the polls, and then we'll finally be able to act. So
now, when we talked about this very briefly on Friday, we mentioned how Salvini had told everybody to kind of take to the streets.
Yeah.
Calmly, because Stuart the Brit was asking, why haven't the Italians revolted? I don't think anybody wants Italy to start a revolt, but I do think that they are voicing their concern.
I think they are. You just don't see it in the news right now. So Salvini says he slammed this new coalition as the least democratic ever. This government is the least democratic and representative of all the time. How do you get an executive to start where the founding members themselves do not believe in it? Salvini went on to attack Prime Minister Conte, whose resignation ushered in the collapse of this coalition. I wonder, since when did our government cease to function? The answer is since Conte summoned everything to Palazzo Chigi. He said, claiming that Conte had attempted to micromanage everything from justice policy to tax reform, slowing down needed reforms. Later during a live stream on his Facebook page, which we can't play, we could play, but then we'd all sit there wondering what he's saying, because it's in Italian.
They should put English subtitles.
Salvini announced he would not be giving up, stating, "A theft of democracy is underway. A minority of a minority, defeated in all elections, is trying to get back through the window. This government is not born in Rome. It was born in Brussels to take out that pain in the rear end." Salvini went on to promise that he would not be getting rid of by Palace Games, and announced a major rally in Rome for October 19th.
Whoa.
So,
we going to Rome. Is it going to be in the Colosseum? That was a joke.
He addressed Italian President Sergio Mattarella, saying, "President, you still have time to get the word to the holders of power, the people. The new left-wing government was met with the opposite sentiment from outgoing European Commissioner, who called it, of course, a positive development. So, but he's not done yet. Italian's outgoing Interior Minister, Matteo Salvini, has banned another migrant rescue ship from docking in the country, using the issue of immigration to pile pressure on his main two political rivals as they seek to form a new government.
I think it'll take a minute for them to unravel the things that he's done. So, I mean...
Salvini, who leads the Lega Party, issued a decree banning the Alan Kurdi ship operated by the German CI NGO with 13 migrants aboard from entering Italian waters the second time in a week. That he has acted to prevent rescue ships bringing migrants ashore. Rescue ships. People trafficking ships. Italy's coalition government, and we talked about this. Yeah, Salvini is trying to... Not only is not trying to put a wedge, they're their own wedge, this new coalition. So
Dale wants to know, do the Italians have guns?
I
don't think so.
I don't think so.
You're asking the wrong people.
We have RT here. We don't know who... Get it, RT? We don't know who sent us tea, but somebody sent us some tea. So...
Our, as in O-U-R-T. Yeah, whoever sent the tea, we are drinking the eggnog.
Eggnoggin.
The eggnoggin stuff. It is really good. And you know what I've discovered since we've become world travelers that don't leave their house? That in the UK, a lot of people put tea in their milk.
You mean milk?
I mean milk in their tea. Yeah. So I've been doing that, and I figured especially for the eggnoggin one, so I did put a little bit of milk in my tea.
There you go.
It's good.
So time for our commercial break. Here is the world's most used
not
child.
Ingrid again.
Here's the thing. Her name is Greta, but that's
Greta,
okay.
Ingrid, whatever. She's Swedish. She could have any one of those names.
She's Norwegian.
Okay. Sorry. This is how much I care about this climate change nutbag.
Okay.
Who's brainwashed by her parents.
The reason I am playing this little thing that's had 1 million views is because
Greta Thunberg. She's got her own shirt now.
Came over to the United States to talk about climate change. Now, here's the thing. She doesn't know anything about climate change. She's not a scientist.
She's a walking zombie tape recorder.
She is being used.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to look. She has Asperger's. She has been scared since she's a child. Like, seriously, it's as if
Did you say that, or did somebody else say that?
She has Asperger's.
Does she really?
You know nothing about this child.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I can't stand her. I literally try to ignore all things about her. I'm not kidding.
She has Asperger's.
Okay. I'm going to try and remember that one.
Since she was, for the past several years, her parents have been brainwashing her with fear. And it's as if let's pretend her parents were like Christian fundamentalists who said that Jesus was going to come back.
Right.
And she was paraded around television saying, Jesus is coming back.
Everybody would say it was her parents telling her this stuff.
And we just know that in 15 years, we're all going to be dead and blah, 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 blah. Children don't know these things. She's not a scientist. She didn't study these things. So somebody had to tell her this.
Exactly.
And so she refused to eat. She wouldn't go to school in her climate protests, and her parents encouraged all of this.
Unbelievable.
And so she's not, she's a poster child. And what they're doing to this child is wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. But I want you to see how she reacts here, and just to know that this is wrong how they're treating this child.
Wait. Don't press play yet. I had this on, and then it died.
Okay. Well, you don't really hear exactly what she's saying.
Well, because is she speaking in Norwegian?
No, she speaks English.
They all do over there. You had a friend, a couple of friends in college. They all speak really, really good English.
So, let's not wait any longer. Let's do it now. Yes.
I just want you to know that this is not right to treat a child like this.
Yeah. What you were trying to point out is all of
her tics and uncomfortableness.
Yeah. She does not look comfortable being paraded out.
It's
and
wrong.
I don't think she really has a choice.
It's wrong.
Wow.
All right, so we're going to go to Hong Kong, where police are really cracking down this weekend. I finished this interview that Michelle can hopefully put in the description.
This. They're thinking you're about to play PJW.
This interview between, maybe bring it up so I can get the guy's name. Miles Kwok. Miles Kwok is an ex-Chinese billionaire, and the last part is the most important part of this whole interview, where he talks about how the Chinese government. Now, why is this? This is all important because it plays straight into Hong Kong and what's going on. If you bring it up so they can just see it, talking about.
So speaking of Greta, Britt Baza reminds me of when we did cover this. Her coming to the United States on her little eco-friendly boat. But then the pilots of the boats had to actually fly back, so it didn't actually save any fuel.
Exactly.
Like it would have normally.
No, it didn't save any.
So, and after I know that some of you guys did watch this interview after we covered it on Friday. If you wait till the end, then the guy does an interview with Steve Bannon afterwards, which was really, really informative.
So you have Miles Kwok here, who is an ex-Chinese billionaire, and he basically spells out how the Chinese economy is collapsing, and before Trump's tariffs, they were already collapsing.
This one right here.
It was already collapsing. I guess so, yeah. The man that China fears the most.
Oh, now, let me switch. That's us. You're watching us twice. Yeah, hang on. Let me switch this over.
I wanted you just to kind of see him sitting in the chair so they get an idea of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And Miles Kwok, he basically, let me lay it down like this. The United States prints a bunch of money. We're in
Do we need PJW right between our faces?
No.
I'm sorry. Do you have I want you to bring up the video so people can see. It's going to be right there, but do you want me to play if I play it
for a second? I want them to see him sitting in the chair.
Then stop talking.
Okay, I didn't want you just to show them the history.
Grammarly does.
Well, I'm not going to bring up a video because then it starts playing and then they can't hear you talking while it's playing.
Okay, just put it to the middle so they can see this Miles Kwok. Okay.
It's muted. Now you can talk. They can just literally watch his hand motions.
No, just stop it. It'll be discombobulating.
Okay.
So there's Miles Kwok. All right. And watch his interview, especially at the end. So we in America, our government has done this really great thing, and they print all this fake money. And they've got us $20 trillion in debt. Right. Well, he's got charts in here that show that China just print the paper money. Just print the. Like, they put us to shame. I don't know the exact numbers, but basically 5 times at least the amount we do. And he said that in China, you want $1 million loan and you're a businessman? You want $1 billion loan, you want a businessman? You can go to these middlemen and they'll ask for 20%. Sometimes they'll ask for 35%. So they're getting $750 million on these $1 billion loans that they negotiate with no collateral, no nothing. They just get you this fake Chinese dollar. Now, the Chinese dollar, whatever they call it, yuan, cannot be traded on the international scene. But Hong Kong's monetary system is internationally tradable. So China uses Hong Kong to launder all of this fake printed money. China is more in debt to themselves. They've made up, it's all the printed money. It's all the fake. It's all fake. It's all fake. And he said, if you rise up in the ranks in this quasi system that they have set up between kind of capitalism, but mostly just totalitarianism, and you become a billionaire. I don't know any of these people that you talked about, but
they said their names
put them in jail.
Everyone knows.
They either go to jail. They're famous billionaires. You either go to jail or you get killed. He said that's it. You go to jail or kill. He said dead or jail, kill or jail. And he believes that there will be a revolution in the next 3 years in China against the CCP, the Communist Chinese Communist Party.
You said that this interview was like 3 months old, which, I mean, obviously I think that what was going on in Hong Kong still was starting to happen 3 months ago.
Well, you can look at it. I don't know exactly. The date should be on it. Not the upload date, but in the description it'll say when it came out.
October 5th.
2008.
2018.
2018.
So what I'm saying is, him saying that, I think that what's happening in Hong Kong right now is a realization of that.
Exactly. He mentioned Hong Kong and what was happening in Hong Kong
before it was
last
happening.
year.
Right.
This guy is a prophet. I'm not even kidding you. And so I think that it's timely that this came out just now. Okay? So we're standing in solidarity with the people in Hong Kong who wish for their freedoms. And let me go into now the Hong Kong protests.
Live rounds fired. That was my leisurely Sunday afternoon in Hong Kong. Why are the protesters out on the streets? They have 5 demands. 1. The full withdrawal of a bill that would allow suspects in Hong Kong to be extradited to China. 2. An inquiry into allegations of police brutality. 3. Amnesty for the arrested protesters. 4. Universal suffrage to allow 100% of the city's executive council, which is dominated by Beijing, to be voted in by the people of Hong Kong. The 5th demand is that authorities stop referring to the demonstrations as riots. The Hong Kong government has said over and over again that it won't accept any of the 5 demands, so the violence will only escalate. We talked to several people who said that the Chinese government is using mass migration to subsume Hong Kong's identity and weaken its unity. Does that remind you of anything?
Ich auch. Ist doch hübsch. Enjoy difference, start tolerance.
Despite dressing similar, the Hong Kong protesters are very different from America's snarling, spitting, obnoxious Antifa thugs. Whereas Antifa attacks the media and refuses to be filmed, the Hong Kong protesters go out of their way to protect the media and prevent journalists from being harmed. On Friday night, there was a vigil attended by thousands of participants. This preceded the monumental human chain, where protesters linked arms for 30 miles around the entire city. They climbed up mountains. China has thousands of troops massing in nearby Shenzhen. Will they be sent into Hong Kong to enact a brutal, bloody crackdown? If Hong Kong is still in turmoil, on October 1st, the 70th anniversary of the founding of Communist China, that will be the biggest embarrassment imaginable for Beijing. So they have to do something. And this is China we're talking about. Tiananmen Square was only 30 years ago. What that something will be remains to be seen.
30-mile human chain. I had not heard of that. Wow. Raise your hand if you heard about that.
Do you know how many people you need to create a 30-mile human chain?
If there was a 30-mile human chain anywhere around the world, why didn't I hear about this till just now? I obviously watched Paul Justin's video, but I didn't watch it to the very end. 30-mile human chain.
Wow.
And nothing in my local newspaper, basically. My local Cincinnati Enquirer does world news as well.
Not as well as we do.
It has a little thing on Hong Kong, and as far as Brexit, the only thing about Brexit is protesters rip Brexit scheme by Johnson. So if you know how to write a title, that would mean I hate you. I don't like you and I disagree with you. So not exactly neutral grounds there, right?
Right.
Police smash their way into subway, beating unarmed protesters. From Katie Hopkins, these brave souls are fighting for freedom. The Chinese government is determined to take away.
係太子站車廂入邊，咁有速龍小隊嘅人呢，就係向住一批人呢，就發射催淚氣體，催淚水劑。咁啊，情況有啲混亂啦。咁啊，有頭先啊見到咧喺有警察啦揮動警棍，咁啊有市民啦情緒激動。 我哋未知道現場係發生咩事啊，咁不過咧，情況相當混亂。
And the only thing that these people have as weapons are their umbrellas. And that's why that guy's getting so angry with his umbrella. Can you imagine feeling so helpless that you have nothing against these police officers?
見過咧，有警察咧就喺車廂入邊係揮動警棍，同埋咧係向喺地下嘅人咧，就係向住地下嘅人咧就係發射咗呢個催淚水劑咁。咁啊，而有警察咧亦都喺站月台咧就係制服咗部分人。
When are the Hong Kong police going to stand down?
That's a very good question, because you know these people have to live with these people. They have to be neighbors. You know? Wow.
So what somebody had said was that it's mostly young people who are doing this. And they have tasted freedom. They unlike other their Chinese mainland counterparts, they travel freely. They make a very good wage, just like you and I would if we lived in Hong Kong. And they're world travelers. And their parents are supporting them because they worked hard to give them this life, and they see it being taken away.
Right.
So, I'm going to get to this stupid joke.
It's really heartbreaking.
Here we have a water cannon spraying blue dye on the crowds so that they can arrest anybody who has blue dye on them later. As Patriot Gallery said, looks like you're going to have to wear 3 layers of clothes. You know what? I'm just going to make a joke here. Umbrella sales, if you're in the umbrella business, you are making record sales.
Because it is the only, like I said, it's the only weapon that they have, but now it's, going to protect them from the blue dye. I mean,
yeah.
This and I want to reiterate for anyone that does not know what's going on in Hong Kong, these protesters are peaceful. They're protesting,
they do not want to be. Here's the thing.
They're not rioting. They're not rioting.
This is their moment. In a short number of years, I think it's like 2046, I believe, Hong Kong will not be 2 systems, 1 country. Right. It'll just be Chinese communists, and they want out before that happens. And they've been waiting for their moment.
Everybody in the world understands that communist China is the biggest human rights violator in the entire world. Everybody knows if you go to China and you look at somebody the wrong way, you may never come home. Mm-hmm. Okay? I mean, they have literal slave labor. They have millions of Muslims in camps where they force them to drink and eat pork and all kinds of crazy stuff. They harvest organs, and yet somehow we still have some people going, these Hong Kong people should just stand down. This is so wrong what they're doing. How dare they stand up against a communist human rights violator that does pretty much everything wrong in the entire world? And you know why those people are upset? Because they still want their cheap products from China. Yeah. They want China to rule because you want your cheap iPhone and your cheap Mac and your cheap whatever, everything that's made in China.
I said,
that's why you don't want Hong Kong to get their freedom.
I don't want to hear any more talk about reparations for Black Americans. We fought a civil war 150 years ago and people died. A bloody death, okay? People died. People put their lives on the line to end slavery, and we've been paying reparations in the form of stupid welfare benefits for the past 75 years. But beyond that, the biggest hypocrites in the entire world are people who say they want reparations for something that didn't happen to them, or to their parents, or to their grandparents.
From people who didn't do it.
From people who didn't do anything. While at the same time turning a blind eye to real slavery, real totalitarianism, real fascism.
Right.
That it's happening right now in China, and you're benefiting every single day. You have more stuff in your house because people in China are under a totalitarian regime. That's called slavery,
So
and that's wrong.
we had shared this on our Resistance Chicks Facebook page, which if you're not following, you should be. And we were talking about the injustices of what's happening in Hong Kong. And we had this comment from one of our, we have like these top fans and people that love to follow us and comment negatively. I'm like, well, at least you're following us. But Mike Moore says, tell that to the Native Americans at Standing Rock. I said, Mike Moore, I'm curious why you would shift focus from an injustice happening right now that needs addressing for people who are currently being oppressed and it needs worldwide awareness to an injustice that happened in the past. If you were to get a chance to talk to one of these people from Hong Kong, would you ignore their plight and just tell them that they should be more concerned with the Native Americans at Standing Rock? You're like, you had your arm chopped off. Who cares? Let me tell you about my grandpa who was murdered. That's what you should really be focused on. Suck it up. I said, seriously? You need help. He comes back and he says, I'd be happy to explain it to you because when Americans in America were facing the same official oppression, there was no outrage. Suck it up. LOL. Talk about righteous hypocrites. Seriously?
They can't see.
How can you take what is happening currently and take away from that? My explanation is exactly plausible. It's like somebody just had their arm chopped off and you're like, well, suck it up. Let me tell you about my grandpa that was murdered. That doesn't matter. He was murdered. He lost his life. Well, let's focus on that.
I know that he was talking about, in all fairness, Standing Rock was a big thing to stop the pipeline.
Why on earth?
To stop the pipeline currently. A gas pipeline going through.
Okay, I thought he was talking. You're right. That's exactly what he's talking about. But either way, this is not the first time I've received comments about what has happened to Native Americans, which was an injustice here in the United States, and we can talk about that all day long.
But here's the thing,
to shift focus
Michelle,
from what's happening right now,
it makes it even worse. A gas pipeline,
right,
going underground
versus a communist regime that wants to extradite
and take your organs. It actually makes it even worse.
Yeah. You're right.
Because we're not even talking about massacre. We're not talking about death. We're not talking about even taking your land. We're talking about a stupid gas pipeline, and there's millions of them all over the country anyways right now. Nobody cares.
Right. I agree.
Okay, so Yavi Yamini just got back from Hong Kong, and he is, I think, here in solidarity with the Hong Kong, a protest in support of Hong Kong, I believe, in Australia. And he meets with some Antifa. And that's what I think that's the background on this, but it's pretty interesting.
How do you feel about the idea that socialists who side with communists want me, who fights for freedom, to leave? What do you feel about that?
Well, let's not forget, like, socialism lead to communism.
We're here in Melbourne CBD where the local Hong Kong community are protesting, as they are around the world, for Hong Kong.
We just want everyone to know that we value democracy, like true freedom, and we value Australian values.
Talk to this man. He's an extreme right-wing, Nazi. He's well known for being extremely racist.
You're part of the Victorian Socialists. What are the Victorian Socialists doing here today?
I want to talk to you. You're a racist. You're an actual huge racist.
You know, I just came back from Hong Kong. I was at the
I think you should not be here. Can you stop coming towards me?
You're the one that came up to us.
She went and got a friend.
You're a racist. Look, mate. So what here exactly? What here are you supporting? Don't touch me. Don't touch me. So wait, as a socialist, you're saying you support?
I'm an anti-fascist.
We're opposed to
she has a title.
Zionist being at a rally.
She has a t-shirt that says Victorian Socialist, and she says, I'm not a socialist, I'm an anti-fascist. Now, I just want you guys to understand that when Poland was being invaded, they had fascists on one side and they had communists on the other side. And do you want to know what the communists were? They were anti-fascist. They were anti-fascist. The Berlin Wall was an Antifa wall, keeping the fascists out. Do you understand this? So from now on, when you see somebody, just know when they say they're Antifa, they're anti-fascist, that it comes from a communist Bolshevik mindset. Okay? It's a historic Bolshevik battle cry. We are Antifa. They're Bolshevik communists.
Who opposes the struggles of ordinary people everywhere. We're opposed to that, and we're opposed to you co-opting the movement in an anti-democratic way.
You've been to Hong Kong?
No, I'm...
So, in the street protests right now in Hong Kong, everybody says that they support Donald Trump. How do you feel about that?
Okay, so he just got back. He has video, and this is the cognitive dissonance of the left. When I talk to people all the time, they're incredulous and they're like, "No, you're lying." And here he says, "I just got back from Hong Kong, interviewing people who love Donald Trump, love Americans, waving the American flag, singing our national anthem," and she's like, "No, they don't."
They fly the American flag. Some people even wear a MAGA hat.
How do you feel? They want me to leave. The socialists want me to leave. How do you feel about the idea that socialists who side with communists want me, who fights for freedom, to leave? What do you feel about that?
Well, let's not forget, like, socialism leads to communism. It's like socialism is a precursor to communism. So yeah, I would never trust a socialist. Never trust Bernie Sanders. Yeah, anyone that everyone wants to, like, force everyone to submit to a state and to live under, like, a tyranny.
You have connections to, like, Blair Cottrell.
Connections work to Blair Cottrell.
You guys work together.
No, I work for tyranny.
You know what would be best for everyone? Why don't we trade in the self-loathing Australians, socialists, like pro-socialists supporting socialists, for the freedom-loving, hard-working Hong Kong people that have been oppressed across the ocean? Yeah, why don't we just trade them in from there?
We trade them in.
Can you, like, leave? You're being, like, completely absurd. Like, I just, like...
You walked up while I was interviewing.
I do support, like, I support equal rights, like, in democracy in places, like, all over the world, including Palestine. Like...
How do you feel about communism?
Love it. I'm a communist myself.
So how can she be supportive of the Hong Kong people? She's not. She's the communist infiltrator.
Exactly. Well said.
Co-opting this rally to, like,
take a picture.
further your, like, anti-Chinese, like, interests.
Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole.
Further your, like, anti-Chinese, like, interests.
Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole.
You have to admit that Yavi getting that soundbite, I would play it over and over again, even though I don't believe in swearing.
Oh my gosh.
But that's the best soundbite I've heard in a long time.
Further your, like, anti-Chinese, like, interests.
China is asshole.
Oh my gosh.
Anti-Chinese.
Okay, sorry about that.
Hong Kongers are freedom-loving people, and Donald Trump, yeah, he's all about freedom. He's all about,
Oh, we're stopped.
It's all about individual liberty and all about free speech and all that stuff.
Do you reckon the Hong Kongers are behind him?
Yes, Hong Kongers will love every Western country in the world, man. Britain, here in Australia, yeah, we all love free.
Do you reckon they like socialism?
Nah.
Can you just, like, wait? I just, like...
You're the one that came up to me.
Just go.
You're the one that came up to me. Still don't understand why the Victorian socialists are here. I don't. Which part of the Hong Kong community supports Victorian socialism? Socialism. Who? No Hong Kongers support socialism. They support democracy, freedom, not socialism, not communism.
All right, so
I love Avi. He is so amazing. He has just such a way about him that you can't, even though people try to come against him, like, you can't, because he does it with a smile on his face, with confidence, and he knows his facts. And I'm really proud that he's out there doing what he's doing.
Me too.
And thankful.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on here from Hong Kong, and we're going to take our next commercial break.
Okay.
This actress was, I don't even know who she is, Whitney Cummings. I don't know what she's been in. She's been in some TV show. However, and she's a lefty. But I don't care. Just look at that face. Oops. What she is pointing out here, I have a huge problem with. And I don't care if men especially, are peeing in the streets in Great Britain. These are unacceptable. And she probably won't play big here.
New products where they just have urinals outside.
No.
I don't like this. I don't like it. Is this a Brexit thing? I disapprove.
So she tried to make a joke of it, and it was really kind of weird to see.
You do understand that it's the mayor, Sadiq Khan. It's his London that has created the need for outside urinals, right?
And also, I really do think that the Londoners, y'all have a big problem with drinking, and you do not have enough public bathrooms, from what I understand. Now, she made a kind of a funny joke, but it was kind of crude.
Okay, but at the very least, can I just make a suggestion? Can we just have curtains around that?
I don't understand. See, that's what they don't understand. Why you can't have a curtain. Why, if you're going to have these public urinals, why can't there be some privacy to them? And in a socialist country, if you don't have enough money for
here it comes,
for enough public restrooms, you got issues. Guess what, guys? We might have some homeless people peeing on the streets around here, and maybe downtown Cincinnati or whatever. You might have a few people. But guess what? In the bars around here, there's bathrooms, and people go into them. They're probably pretty gross once people are drunk. But people don't pee randomly everywhere outside. You guys need more bathrooms, okay? Here's the thing. If you're going to serve a product that goes through people's system like that, and you want them to drink more and more, you have to have another product for it to exit their body.
Hang on, because here in the United States, we have codes. Like, if you have a certain amount of occupancy, you have a limited number, and then you have to have so many stalls based on that occupancy, or, respectively, how many people are going to be using that restroom, whether it's just a regular store, or a restaurant, or a bar, or something like that.
I've always known in Europe, you guys have, a really hard problem. You have a problem with bathrooms over there. There's not enough, and there's pay toilets. In a socialist country, why should you have to pay to pee? You have issues with your socialism. Everything is great in socialist country, but guess what? We have public restrooms here. Public restrooms, and by golly, that's American.
We have a lot of parks that have restrooms.
Every park has a potty or a porta potty. Here's the thing. Why not just a porta potty?
What? Yeah, exactly.
That you clean out. We call them porta potties. And you line them up. Here's the thing. Every time that there's a big event around here, and there's going to be people there, we got lines of porta potties because people need to pee.
So Kelly points out something that came to mind for me. She says, unless you live in the woods. Actually, so what is American is for people out in the country to go outside and just
We're talking about public places.
We're talking about in cities.
Where on streets. Streets cannot absorb your pee.
Right.
I just can't.
That's disgusting.
Okay. Let's go to Greece.
I'm really digging this eggnoggin. Eggnoggin tea.
Okay, into Greece. There's a new right-wing government.
But you can't use your Italian
I'm not.
accent.
I just said into Greece.
Okay.
All right. I can kind of. They're
similar.
basically cousins. Okay. Have you ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yeah. I love that movie.
It's okay. We can make a lamb. New right-wing government to strengthen borders, deport fake refugees faster. So Greece's prime minister and his national security advisors decided Saturday to transfer refugees from overcrowded migrant camps to its eastern islands to the mainland and accelerate
on its eastern
islands to the mainland and accelerate the deportation of rejected applicants, for asylum without giving them the right to appeal. The Greek government's Council on Foreign Affairs and Defense also agreed while meeting for several hours Saturday to increase border surveillance and to activate a €50 million integrated maritime surveillance system that the previous government did not put in place. Greece will also boost the Coast Guard's fleet with 10 new speedboats. Government spokesperson Stelios Pestas said the council also decided to reunite 116 unaccompanied minors living in Greek migrant camps with their families residing in other European countries. Petsas charged that the previous leftist government had done nothing about the thousands of cases of people whose asylum applications had been rejected by courts. The police have already detected 1,000 cases and will take immediate steps to arrest these individuals. The meeting was called after the mass arrival Thursday, get this, 600 refugees and other migrants on the island of Lesbos. The Moria migrant camp on Lesbos is overcrowded with over 10,200 people housed in a space designed for 3,000. Hundreds of people continue to head to Greece.
That's more
from
than the
Turkey
last time
each
we
week,
covered it. It was only like 8,000 at that time.
despite a European-Turkey deal restricting
Oh my
these
gosh.
arrivals.
So, because of the 30-second delay, our comments are always behind
So
here.
we have more pee-pee gate.
Yeah, so on the toilets in
they're not toilets.
They're urinals.
And
Mikey B says, "Hi, we also have plenty of parks in London. Just go behind a tree like the rest of the country." Britt Baza says, "Michelle, these urinals are supposed to pop out of the ground." I was like, huh? This is because the councils have closed all the council toilets, pubs, cafes, etc. Do not let people use toilets unless they are a customer. What do you mean pop out of the ground? Like some
I've
sort
heard
of
I've heard
Star
of them.
Trek thing?
Yeah, I've heard
like
of that.
literally press a button and it
then
pops
you just
up out
pee,
of the ground.
so your privates are out where everybody can see. It's so
This
stupid.
is strange. And this is beyond strange. It's uncomfortable. I'm not coming. If we do go to the UK, we're not going to London.
What about girls? It's so
yeah,
sexist.
why? It's just that the guys get to pee.
Girls have to pee even more than guys.
Yeah. Are they going to just have toilets that pop up out of the ground for a girl to pop a squat?
In America,
it's unbelievable.
Every once in a while, you come across a somewhere that says bathroom for customers only. But by and large, people understand. You gotta go. You gotta go.
You gotta go. You know, when we landed in the Moscow airport, many years ago, there was just a hole in the ground in there. But at least it was a restroom,
and it had a thing around it, a door.
It had a door. You had some privacy. Okay, the fact that this is just out in the public, it's not right. What is wrong with you people? Not you
They're
people.
like savages.
Okay, because Britt Baza corrected me earlier. He says, I'm not a socialist. No, when I meant everybody's a socialist, I didn't mean everybody.
I mean, seriously, in a socialist country, the one thing you can spring for is universal bathrooms.
Yeah.
Come on.
As a socialist country. You know what? As a libertarian, there are things that we should pay for, you know, tax-wise. And I think that if you have a park, it should have a restroom. I think we should have streets and roads and so on and so forth. I think that having enough restrooms is... But the problem is that the cities are so old that there isn't enough room. We have the urban sprawl where, like, when we get too congested, we just expand. You can't have that in London. There's no expanding London.
Gotta come up with something else. All right, so here is the 500...
High-rise toilets. I mean, come on. I saw an aerial view of Manhattan the other day. It looked like some sort of spike sticking up because their buildings get so tall.
There you go.
High-rise toilets. Like, literally make them like the Tower of Babel toilet. Okay? And you can ride some sort of pulley thing that rides you up to your own voting booth of a toilet. And then the girls can use it, too. And then you got a stack. If you don't know anything about plumbing, you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's the big pipe that, you know... And a stack that comes out to the side. How come they haven't asked the engineer? That would be me, who's not an engineer. Okay, carry on. Let's go back to Greece. I'm sorry.
Mess with the landscape, so this would rather have people pee.
That's right. It's ridiculous.
Historically, you had a lot of pee in London.
I'm the only smart one here.
So here's the 500 illegal migrants land on Greek island in one day. At least 500 migrants landed on the Greek island of Lesbos this week from Turkey in one day. As conditions on the islands in the Aegean continue to deteriorate. The 500 migrants arrived on Thursday, according to the DPA news agency, who noted that the landing was the single largest since the migration pact in 2016 with Turkey and the EU. All of the migrants were taken to the notorious Moria migrant camp, which is already heavily overcrowded. It was supposed to be for 3. It has over 10,000 people. The conditions have led to drug use and rampant violence and criminality. Earlier this week, the United Nations urged Greece to do more to protect the migrants after an Afghan migrant was stabbed 3 other migrants. So what are you supposed to do, really? Seriously? Syrian migrants also continue to flow into Turkey from their native Syria, with a report claiming that Turkish border guards had fired warning shots on Friday and used tear gas against a group of hundreds of protesters to cross the border. The demonstrating migrants were opposed to the ongoing Turkish military operations in northern Syria. So you have these people who really are not exactly happy with Turkey coming into Greece.
Oh my.
And let's see, we're going to get to Brexit. But
hang on. So before you move on, because Stuart the Brit says, for 3 years I've been watching. Resistance chicks always use the what happens in the cities as fact about England. So false and bloody insulting to all of us. Forgive me, my friend. We all know
we're
that
not talking about all of England. London, Sadiq Khan, and the cities.
It's Sadiq Khan and the London
we
city.
We love the rolling.
You all know we love Yorkshire and all that and everything, and all of the rest of you and your wonderful viewers, some of our favorite, and you all know this. But there are some crazy things going on in the UK, and I'm sorry if it spills over into. I would take offense if somebody in the UK was covering America and talked about
that New York City and Sacramento were like Midwestern Ohio.
Exactly. We
do not have
you
homeless
all
people
know.
in camps and needles and poop infested Los Angeles.
Exactly.
So this new Greek government wants Germany to pay war reparations, which I thought was hilarious. Greece's newly elected prime minister has said during a visit to Berlin that he hopes Germany will agree to start negotiations on war reparations. After a meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel on Thursday, Prime Minister Mitsotakis. We hoped there will be a positive response. The previous Greek government delivered a formal request in April to enter talks into paying reparations Athens claims Greece is owed for both world wars.
Right.
Merkel didn't mention the issue, so we'll see how far that goes. All right, y'all. Y'all. We're not going to, it's not y'all. Australia's prime minister has his head on his shoulders. He goes to a
I would hope so.
Christian church. He is, I wanted to put in the title, Australia's Sane PM, Prime Minister. Go ahead, read the title in your
Aussie PM Scott Morrison slams gender-neutral bathrooms as ridiculous.
Go ahead.
I think that's all I have in me, really.
Do it!
Australian... Oh, did I... Okay, okay.
Right here.
He also called the signs of political correctness not necessary, and it's struggling and over the top before vowing to sort out who was responsible for the signage and have them removed. Mr. Mawson's promise of intervention came after an image of a sign was posted to Twitter by a Canberra journalist, which showed a facility in the department of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet staff as open for employees to use the restroom that best fits your gender identity.
So he wasn't happy about this right here. PM&C is committed to staff inclusivity and diversity. Please use a bathroom that best fits your gender diversity. He's not happy about this. Go ahead.
It clearly notes the department is committed to staff inclusions and diversity. But when asked about the sign, Mr. Morrison said, I don't think that this is necessary. I think that people can work out which restroom to use. It's ridiculous. It's political correctness over the top. He told the 2GB radio, I've got a pretty clear view about this and I'm sure this will be sorted. Asked whether the signs would come down, Mr. Morrison said, that's what I expect. This is not the first time the Prime Minister has lambusted modern trends in neutral gender assignment. Last year, Scott Morrison criticised a report saying teachers were being taught how to spot potentially transgender students. And earlier this month, he called a decision to follow transgender and gender diverse... To allow, thank you, transgender and gender diverse people play cricket in the highest level, heavy-handed and mystifying. Now you're going to hear a real Australian accent.
While those sort of weighty matters have been playing out,
it's really good, actually.
I have to screw up my whole face to
Prime
do it.
Minister and Cabinet. So, Chris Ullman, political editor at the Nine Network, tweeted this while I've been on air this afternoon. This is a bathroom sign at the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, down the road from where I'm at Parliament House. If you can't read the fine print, it says, PM&C, the department is committed to staff inclusion and diversity. Please use the bathroom that best fits your gender identity. Right, within the hour, the Prime Minister himself is on radio on 2GB with Ben Fordham. He gets asked about this. Here's what he says.
Honestly, this is why we call it the Canberra bubble. It's ridiculous. I don't think this is necessary. I think people can work out which room to use.
What's your concern?
Well, I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's over the top. It's just, you don't need to do this stuff. It's just political correctness over the top. It's just not necessary. We're going to be clear about this, and I'm sure this will be sorted.
So what, the signs are going to go?
No, that's what I expect.
So
She
a
doesn't
pretty
look happy
clear
about it,
message
but I
from
don't know,
Scott
we'll see.
Morrison that this is ridiculous.
He's kind of laughing.
Someone else has pointed out
He's
on
laughing.
Twitter, I'll show you this, that for years in Parliament
She's not
House,
laughing.
where we work and all the politicians, including the Prime Minister, work, these bathroom signs, which are also gender diverse, have been prominent for a long time. The bathrooms here are, as I say, you can use whichever one you want. Doesn't have the words that the one down the road at the department has. But Janine, I don't know, there's a couple of things here. Why is the Prime Minister weighing in on this? Well, I guess he's asked by Ben Fordham to, but why is he reacting in the way that he is?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the difference between that sign and this sign.
Well, hang on.
This is a women's bathroom that they have designated a women's bathroom.
Right.
The other sign is when you have one bathroom.
But I think what he was saying is before that, they literally had that sign where you can go into any like they literally just make it transgender.
No, I don't
like,
think that's what he was
co-ed,
saying. He's saying that in our building we have these signs, but I think that you do have two different signs, and like we do in America, and this is what I would assume would be a lot of places. You go to a bathroom that has like it's double gendered bathroom because there's only one of them, or there's only two. Okay, so it's a bathroom, and you go in, but it's a single use.
Yeah.
When you have multi-use, you don't have multi.
But see, the way that guy was saying that, it made it sound like they had co-ed bathrooms.
No, I don't think so.
Particular problem with saying you can use the bathroom that best suits your gender identity.
Oh, look, I hate the whole thing. I mean, as a girl, we like to have, people who aren't standing up at the bathroom, so I don't know which way you identify and whether I upset anyone, but I kind of like gender bathrooms. But when he talks about the Canberra bubble, does he not look at the signs? I mean, I must admit, when you showed the second sign, I didn't realise that's what that meant. I hadn't put the two and two together. But has this never been brought to his attention? Did they just go up yesterday? That's the question on this. Why is he offended now and why weren't they before? And if they've been going along, what's the issue?
I don't know, but he's pretty upset about it now, and I suspect those signs will probably change down the road. Maybe not here at Parliament, though. That would prompt a whole other bun fight. Also today, we saw the draft.
Okay, so I love the Australians because I do think that they are a little less they're extreme. So they have two extremes. They do have the social justice warriors who will put that up, right? But then they have they're less politically correct as a whole of the people.
I agree with that.
With their newscasters, he's laughing.
Yeah,
he's literally laughing.
Right.
And she's like, I'm a girl, and you may be right because she said I didn't know that's what that meant. I do have another story for Australia because there was I believe a rapist who the Australian Prime Minister is sending back to Iraq, and I think that's probably a pretty good move here. And did I not bring you up?
So on this subject that we were just talking about, if we were to start having gender neutral bathrooms, just a free for all, anybody wants to come in, I would probably stop using public restrooms. Okay, I just would. But by and large, at least, and I think that we kind of live in a bubble because in our area of the United States, right next door. Here in Ohio, I don't think anybody would have a problem with a trans male going into the female restroom or even a girl going into the guy's restroom. No one would have a problem with that, but we don't really have that many noticeable trans people. So that it would make you feel uncomfortable. The idea is that you just don't want to feel uncomfortable in the restroom that you're using. So if there is a dude that looks totally like a girl or a girl that looks totally like a guy, whatever restroom they were to use, I don't think anybody's really going to notice. It just doesn't come up here. We don't live in San Francisco. We don't live in a place where that actually happens. And so I think that it's really interesting that Australia is making a point of this because I do think that you and I personally are sheltered from these goings on that are around the world and then on our coastal cities because we haven't been to the coasts. I mean, we were in Massachusetts, 4 or 5 years ago. This really wasn't an issue.
And I wouldn't make an issue out of it if you're not making an issue out of it. But if you're clearly a dude, you need to clearly go in the dude bathroom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Here we have Let me see this.
The government is acting very swiftly in this case. That process of cancelling Mohammed Hassan al-Bayati's visa is now well underway. The security guard, of course, this week was sentenced to 4.5 years jail for kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 3-year-old girl while her mother was Christmas shopping. It was an horrific crime. The government now wants him out of the country, and as quickly as
out of
possible,
the country.
the Prime Minister will
Why
tell
wouldn't you be in jail for the rest of your life?
Well, I would say we're not even going to waste our money
this
on
morning
you.
that, like most
He's from Iraq. He's not coming back. Australia's an island. So just get out of here.
He should be punished, though. He shouldn't.
So I was sickened by Bayati's despicable crime. He has not only committed an appalling crime against an innocent child, but against the country that gave him refuge and a new life. It's abhorrent and unacceptable that a young child was terrorised by someone that was granted protection in our country. Now, under laws Scott Morrison introduced as Immigration Minister back in 2014, a non-citizen's visa is automatically cancelled when they are convicted of a serious crime. The case is now before the Home Affairs Minister, Peter Dutton, but a decision is imminent.
So I think that that's a very good decision. You have to send a pretty hard line that it says the New South Wales district sent him to jail for only 4.5 years, and with a non-parole period of 2.5 years. He came to Australia by boat from Iraq in 2011 and was given a permanent protection visa to stay.
This bloke has no right to be here. He's abused the generosity of the country that gave him a new start. And it was absolutely appalling, said Mr. Morrison, the Prime Minister.
And just because you're on a permanent protection visa, it's a warning to anyone. Once he's been released from jail, he's going to serve his jail. But you know what? He's not going back into the Australian populace.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
as long as he's, but see, I don't, that's up for a judge and a jury, but I don't think that 2.5 years in jail, and then probation is enough.
He should have been, given the death penalty for but here's the thing. If you're not going to be given the death penalty and he's just going to go back into the
So did I miss in the very beginning, is the child gone? Or was she recovered?
Yeah, she was assaulted, but she's alive.
Okay,
he didn't
that's
kill
good.
her.
No. He was taking her for sex trafficking.
No, he just assaulted her.
But it said for sex trafficking when we were watching the video.
He took the girl from the center's playground while her mother was Christmas shopping. He assaulted her.
Right, but it said he was somewhere in there. It said that he was like a sex trafficker.
Well, I didn't catch that part, but
okay. Well, that's still, yeah, I agree. That's still not enough of a punishment.
Right. Okay, are you ready to talk about the bitter moaners in Brexit for a second here? So
I have no pity for you.
The fascists,
not you, the Ramoners.
The fascists. We need to learn from Donald Trump fascists, blah, blah, blah. So here's some of the Ramoner footage after Boris Johnson stated that he would prorogue Parliament, which is suspend it, to get a no-deal Brexit through.
Are we going to stop the coup? Are we going to save democracy? Are we going to stop the disaster of no deal? And are we going to bring down the unelected Prime Minister, Boris Johnson? I think we might, In Weimar Republic, the Nazis stopped their parliament, and look what happened. We need to listen and we need to learn from history. We need to learn those mistakes of history.
Do you think Boris Johnson is a fascist?
Yes. I'm German, so I should know.
Gotta stop him, gotta stop fascism now.
I do think he's a fascist. He's affected by the alt-right. He's also in hot with Trump and the whole right-wing organisation.
Whatever spell these demonic demons have put on people around the entire world, they're doing a good job. You gotta hand it to them. They have licked the popsicle. They have drank the Kool-Aid. And some mistress came up to them in witching clothes and just said, here, and I'm going to control your mind, because they're all spewing out the same thing. It's literally like in Jungle Book where the snake comes up and puts Mowgli in a trance with his eyes. Fascists everywhere, and I don't care. I just see a fascist everywhere. And then, meanwhile,
I think you need to write a new song. I just to see fascists everywhere. That was good.
And that woman from Germany, I'm like, have you been to Hong Kong, honey? What would you think? Now, those people just need to stand down, I'm sure. Okay, this is not a dictatorship. He is following the rule of law.
People voted
to do this, and here Parliament has been prorogued before, and you have this backstop. Her name is the Queen. Okay,
hang on, don't use that word, because the backstop, we talk about the Irish backstop, it could be confusing.
Okay, you have a constitutional whatever that, you know, the Queen didn't have to sign off on it. If she felt like, and she talked to her ministers, that this was an illegal move somehow, she would not have signed it. She is politically neutral. She is not.
She's supposed to be, you know, she wants Brexit.
She probably does, but I don't think that she's not stepping in to do anything. She's just saying it's okay. And the will of the people is you guys signed on, you voted for Brexit.
They already voted to have a to allow for a no deal Brexit.
So they're the ones subverting the will of the people.
But these people don't understand. Like, they literally, like you said, they are under a spell.
So this is worldwide. This is why we come to you. And this is why we will continue to come to you.
Yeah.
Even though our voice has been stifled and stifled and stifled and stifled. You need to know that you're not crazy. Because when you turn on the news, they tell you you're crazy. All right? This is from my local paper, Cincinnati Enquirer.
Which used to be right-leaning.
Today. Their only headline on Brexit is this. Protesters, these guys, rip Brexit scheme by Johnson. Now, this is a false headline. It's a fake news headline, and it makes you think what Boris Johnson is doing is wrong, and he's scheming. Okay, whoever wrote this is a crazy Ramoner, and this is not neutral.
Who did write that anyway? Gregory Katz. What do you know about it, Katz?
And look at the whole Brexit then. That was funded by nationalists in Russia. Okay, this is all alt-right money. This is what it is.
This was funded by nationalists in Russia. How in the world would a nationalist in Russia be funding a Brexit?
Wasn't the original Brexit vote in 2014?
It was in Well, you got the Brexit in 2016. That's when they voted on it. Brexit was 2016.
Was it really 2016?
Yeah.
It feels like it was longer than that. But
that's
my
why
point
Nigel was so excited. We got Brexit 2016.
But my point is, it was pre-Donald Trump being president.
Yes.
I think it was like June of that year or something like that.
It
was in the middle of the summer.
May or June, yeah.
Okay, so back when everybody still thought that Trump was not going to be elected. Trump would have had... So if Hillary was elected... All right, let's just say for 1 second.
You would still have...
Hillary was elected, and we would still have this, and somehow you would be saying that Boris Johnson is colluding with Donald Trump?
Yeah.
And that it was the Russians?
We are here to say that hours after he took an incredible fascist step in our country, we are here from all backgrounds to say no!
So, your parliament voted against allowing a no-deal Brexit, voted to allow a no-deal Brexit by one vote. And that woman was wearing an ankle monitor because she was a criminal. One vote.
But even that particular vote, though, and I'm going to get this wrong, but this is for my American viewers, and I think that the British, you're going to have to allow me on this. Your laws and the way that, like, you can vote on a law, and it's not really a law because it has, like, all these loopholes that it has to abide to, and somehow it can be a law and non-binding and all this craziness. Okay, that was one of those.
This is a launch pad.
We don't have things like that here. If it's a law, it's a law.
And full of optimism and full of hope. They only have fear and despair and hatred. And what we're now going to do in the coming weeks is take to the streets, not just with protests, but with that great tradition of ours that won women's rights, workers' rights, LGBTQ rights, minorities' rights.
So, what else do you see here with this young man?
But he looks like Hitler.
Well, okay, you could say that. I think he looks like Tommy Robinson. I think he even sounds like Tommy Robinson.
That's true.
And I think that he has been particularly groomed and picked because they realize that they need a face, a young face that can get a hold and get other young people and older people excited about what they're doing, because they have no one. They have nothing. With Diane Abbott standing right there tells me that this young man is in all the backroom deals, is in all the backroom conversations, and he's a puppet.
He's a reporter.
It doesn't
Well,
matter.
not a reporter,
Like,
but he goes on and talks, yeah.
isn't he like for one of the like Channel 4 or something like that?
A commentator.
He's the Guardian writer. Thank you, Mikey. And he's done videos before. He's done a lot of videos.
They're yelling Nazi scum while taking these people's Brexit signs from them.
A few people got overheated, tried to drag our banner down, but our good police helped us, so we thank them, and it's just...
I'm guessing he's a racist.
It's
white
just that people get
supremacist.
overexcited, so I have no bad feelings.
We're here today because Boris Johnson is doing some really incredibly undemocratic stuff.
Would you say fascist type stuff?
Proud certainly is. I'd say that if definition of fascism, isn't it a complete intolerance for the views of others? Is that right? So he's ensuring that the views of Parliament, which is representatives of the people, cannot be heard, and the only view that matters is his own. Seems like the boot fits.
Boris Johnson is trying to fundamentally undercut our democracy. If you do not get out this weekend, you are signing up for autocracy.
This is just beyond. But you know what? I think that it's important for you to see what has happened to in brainwashing people. Now, I'm going to give you some good news.
Don't think you understand what I'm saying.
This was a good interview here with Nigel Farage. He does not want to be prime minister. He will withdraw the candidates if Boris Johnson goes for a New Deal, but he doesn't actually think that Boris is going to go through with it, or he's not convinced, is what I should say. This is a good
thing. Not only will he win a big majority, he'll be a hero.
We've been down the Red Lion pub. Is an old
who, and let's be fair, has started off with great energy, optimism, and said some wonderful things. In fact, I thought several times, I was listening to myself in the European election campaign, infrastructure spending, mobile phone connectivity, great stuff.
And dealing with the Great Divide up north, and all that stuff.
I mean, this is the sort of Brexit party.
But isn't that your problem? He's nicked all your best lines.
Oh yeah, he's got to deliver, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all well and good marching the army up to the top of the
If
hill.
he does deliver a no-deal Brexit,
Well,
you're out of a job by November. You're back to the fishing.
If he delivers a no-deal Brexit, we'll come to the Red Lion. Right, you and
for
I.
a proper night.
We'll be,
not before 11.
And they'll kick us out at dawn. I'd be delighted if he delivers it. But the problem is, that isn't what he's trying to do. And I'm surprised how few commentators have actually understood what the Boris plan is. It's dead simple.
What is it?
It's dead simple. Spotted a mile off. All right, you have a Queen's speech, October the 14th. You announce in that Queen's speech a whole load of populist policies, and it will be
schools, policing,
infrastructure,
all that.
etc. Don't worry about the fact the budget deficit's going to go up, because actually the argument you can borrow money cheaply. So that's what he'll do, and he'll say we can only do these things, we can only bring the United Kingdom into the 21st century and put this plan into place if
Those are great
we get
socks.
Brexit delivered by the 31st of October. And I will be off in 3 days' time to Brussels, to the European Summit, where we're going to achieve a huge negotiating victory, because Monsieur Barnier has agreed some significant changes of wording to the backstop, and with the backstop removed in its current form, the rest of the withdrawal agreement is satisfactory.
So he'll say it's removed, even if it's not removed.
Well,
do you think?
They will fiddle around with language. I mean, that's what they do in Brussels. They're terribly good at it. And he will come back and cry victory, and he'll say now to the House of Commons, if you vote for this, we get Brexit, we can move on with our wonderful modernisation programme. If you don't vote for this, there will be no Brexit. That's what he'll do. And then if he loses, he'll call a general election and he'll say, I'm on the side of the people, it's Parliament that have robbed us of Brexit. That's the plan. And here's the problem. The problem is the withdrawal agreement, even if the backstop was removed completely, is the worst deal in history. Because it will leave us locked. And in fact, it's very difficult to see how we'd ever leave the customs union, even without the backstop. You know, the very clever way in which the political declaration links back to the withdrawal agreement. I mean, the 39 billion
that stays
is actually the least of my concerns. It's all the rest of
European Court of Justice, the problem?
For at least 8 years.
Yeah. And that committee, this committee running the two.
Who's going to be on that? You know, and how's that going to work?
Barnier and exactly. Ollie Robbins. No, he's gone now.
Fisheries, no hope for fisheries. Free trade deals. You wait. President Trump, my friend the president, who said,
really?
Who said,
no idea.
Well, I was with him the day Boris became PM.
Were you?
Because I was over. I was over in the US. And
did you help with his tweeting that day?
And he was no, ridiculous. But you know, and he was right about one thing. He was right that Boris would bring energy, much needed energy, to the job. But one of the reasons Trump is saying all these very positive things about Boris is he believes Boris is going to deliver Brexit on the 31st of October, and that we can move ahead with a big trade deal.
What did Trump say when he heard the news, or you may have told him the news? I don't know.
He's very pleased. He's very, very pleased.
Do you see Boris as a mini-me slightly, or not?
Well, I think a lot of the American media do, and I think they're in for a shock, because I think actually in many other policy areas...
Well, he's quite a soft Tory,
I mean, there were... Well, yes, of course he is, but
maybe immigration and things.
Well, he believes in amnesties and all sorts of things for illegals, and so there are differences. But when Trump realises that what Boris actually wants to do is to sign us up for something that would mean we couldn't have any free trade with the USA, and I thought the John Bolton idea of doing it sector by sector, so you do the easy bits,
manufacturing,
and leave the difficult, contentious stuff to the end. I thought that, when he realises that actually what Boris wants to do is to take us into a transition period of 18 months with the option to extend by a further 2 years, and that it will be right at the end of his second term as president.
You're wasting this
before we can probably do it.
You're wasting a goodwill with Trump that way.
Yeah. So I look. My objective now is twofold. Firstly, to prepare the Brexit Party for a general election, and I think we've done some astonishing work on that over the course of the summer.
You prayed your candidates this week.
They got like 600
candidates.
We
had 540 of our prospective parliamentary candidates there in Westminster in one room, and I think just that image said, we are ready.
And there are no fruitcakes in there. Apart from the leader. I'm joking.
No, look, I mean, I think what's remarkable, I'll tell you what's really remarkable, that we've got 635 people out of the thousands that have applied who have made it through, been through the vetting, been through the screen testing, and they're ready to fight the election. And yet, when I say to them, you must be prepared, if it's in the national interest, to stand down, they applaud.
Yeah.
Now that is remarkable.
Yeah.
So we're getting people who are coming into the Brexit Party, and they come from every walk of life. We've got nurses.
So I'm going to leave it at that. You guys can, maybe Michelle can put this in the description. It's a very good interview, but I really appreciated what he said about Boris Johnson, because on the one hand, he wants to encourage Boris Johnson and doesn't want to discourage him. I would say that Nigel Farage is one of the best politicians. Right now, he takes a lot from Donald Trump in that he is not an antagonizer. Right. And when he sees people doing things that are right, he is a positive. He wants to find the positive on things. And that is why you see a lot of anger and hatred, and that does not inspire people. And so, he had to step away from Tommy for a little bit, and I'm sorry about that. But Brexit is more important. The whole is more important, and he had to keep the positive momentum going forward. And so he's really good at saying, hey, you know what? He says, I will withdraw these candidates.
In the strongest possible terms on behalf of my party, and I believe all the other opposition
if there's
parties are going
a
to
no
join
deal.
in with this.
But then you have Corbyn saying, what is Boris Johnson afraid of? And they're going to try to block this. And I think I'm not even going to play this because I'm worried about a copyright on this one.
If it's from Channel 4, we'll get one.
let's see here. Here we have Martin Dubney, an MEP, saying, talking about bringing home a clean Brexit, how important that is.
Martin, it is an assault on democracy, Arena says.
I don't know if I can get that any louder.
The only reason is to get a no deal through.
Well, isn't it funny how a party that's laid every stumbling block, every tool of anti-democratic derailing of Brexit suddenly cares about democracy as we approach the Brexit endgame when they know, I'm afraid, that the game is up. It is not anti-democratic to prorogue Parliament. It is a routine part of Parliament before every Queen's speech. Parliament hath not sat in September for 80 years. It is not a 5-week prorogue. It is actually a 5-day longer prorogue than ordinary because of conference season. But let's just focus on what this is all about. This is about the collective, organised rebuttal of the Remain parties. They're not bothered about stopping no deal. They just want to stop Brexit altogether.
Right.
So once again, we can see for 3 years, this has been the parliamentarians against the people. They will not win. Brexit cannot be thwarted now. Sadly for both Arena and myself, we should be losing our jobs on Halloween. I'll be happy about that because we were always hiring ourselves to be fired. I'm afraid we cannot ignore the democratic will of the people any longer because I think we will go into a political situation unprecedented in our times. This is about losing faith in democracy altogether. And if Boris Johnson wobbles on Brexit, if he doesn't bring home a clean break Brexit, which the people demand, then I think politics will go into a further meltdown. We'll be looking at a general election and the Brexit.
Well, and that would be good news for us. You know why? Because it will keep us in stuff to talk about. Because you know, what if there was just a no deal on October 31st and it was over? You know, everything would be boring after that.
Let's just hope for boring.
So, this is from the Polish embassy tweeted this out. I want to play this. This was Boris Johnson praising the Polish people and their spirit during World War II, during the spirit of on the 80th anniversary of the outbreak of World War II. So I wanted to play this for you guys.
80 years ago, Hitler invaded Poland and triggered the Second World War. As Poles defended their country against the Nazi onslaught, Soviet forces attacked them from the east, trapping Poland between the hammer of fascism and the anvil of communism. Yet the Polish people never succumbed to tyranny. At home, they mounted a dogged and unconquerable resistance, and on almost every front, Poles fought magnificently for the Allied cause. They served alongside the British Army, storming the Nazi fortress at Monte Cassino, vanquishing Rommel in North Africa. Whenever I depart from RAF Norfolk, which happens to be in my constituency, Uxbridge and South Ruislip, I remember the Polish pilots who took off from the same runway to defend British skies in 1940. It was the Polish Hurricane pilots of 303 Squadron who shot down more enemy aircraft during the Battle of Britain than any other squadron in the Royal Air Force. During those terrible days, Poles never doubted that they would regain control of their destiny. Winston Churchill shared that faith, prophesying that Poland would live again and resume its rightful part in the new organisation of Europe. Today, Poland lives and thrives in the heart of Europe, just as Churchill foretold. Britain has been proud to stand with Poland. Our friendship, born in the struggle against tyranny, is symbolised today by our unbreakable commitment to the NATO alliance. We have been with you in times of triumph and tragedy. We shall be with you in the decades ahead.
I just thought that was great, and I wanted to play that for you guys. Kind of some good news. Orban, on the other hand, to Salvini, we are brothers in arms. Hungarians will never forget your fight for strong borders and European heritage. So, kind of talking about, you know, encouraging other people here. Hungarian Premier Viktor Orban sent a warm letter to the Italian populist leader Matteo Salvini, and we talked about how he had to step down in the very beginning. And he says, Allow me to express my appreciation and gratitude for the work that you have done in the past years, not only for Italy, but also for the whole of Europe, including Hungary. I can assure you that we Hungarians will never forget that you were the very first Western European leader who intended to stop the flow of illegal migrants into Europe through the Mediterranean. Regardless of future developments in the Italian domestic political scene and of the fact that we belong to different European party groups, we look to you as our ally and our fellow combatant in the fight for the preservation of the European Christian heritage and the tackling of migration. I wish you much success and good health for your future in endeavors.
I love these people. There's no limit to how much I love Viktor Orban and Matteo Salvini.
I just do. I think that they're fantastic human beings. I really do.
They like literally give me warm fuzzies.
They do. They do.
Just looking at them.
Absolutely. I would be neglectful if I did not talk about a terror attack that happened in France. 1 killed and 9 wounded by a knife-wielding Afghan migrant. Police detained an Afghan migrant seeking asylum in France after one person was fatally stabbed, killed, and 9 others injured Saturday outside a subway station in the suburb of Lyon. The reason for the attack was unclear. The assailant was a 33-year-old Afghan citizen who had applied for asylum in France and was awaiting a response.
Mm-hmm.
The suspect provided contradictory information to the police, but the attack in the town of Villeurbanne did not appear to be terrorism related. However, there is video out there.
I bet it's like just Villeurbanne. But the L's are more like a yee.
I can't believe that they said that in Breitbart because there's a video of the guy.
Well, I want to know when we're going to start talking about assault knives.
Exactly. From what I understand, there was a video that had him yelling a la Akbar and things like that. I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at, but this is a video of the attack. 2 migrants went a stabbing free. Meanwhile, Macron is busy. Another video taken during the lawn attack. The Afghan terrorist suspect has been arrested.
Je mets des coups de couteau là, chatte à ta mère, va. Fils de pute, wallah. Il est en train de la charcler, les yeux de ma mère. Wallah, c'est fils de pute, wallah. La chatte, gros.
Tell me that that's not terror related. Just random attacking people. It was a terror attack. It was an Islamic terror attack. Okay, so, Breitbart's gone soft on me. It really has. So,
well, they're desperate, you know, desperate. It's kind of like all of a sudden, when everybody's starving and you're like, I'm never going to become a cannibal. And then you do. I think that's what Breitbart's kind of like, I have to eat people.
Yeah, they were,
because of what happened to them. So I'm not faulting them exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
I mean, don't eat people.
And then again, 150 African migrants stormed the border fence of Spain and Madrid. At least 155 migrants from sub-Saharan Africa successfully entered the Spanish enclave of, I don't know how to say that, Ceuta, after climbing over fences or walking across the border Friday. 7 of the migrants clung to the top of the 6-meter tall fence. So this is where still.
Now, what we learned while watching Borderless is that they wait
to a certain time and they all go,
and then they all of a sudden go, and then hope that some get over, and then they wait again until they can mount another climbing assault or whatever. So Britt Baza had sent me a picture. He wants to make sure that you all know what the public toilets actually look like in the rest of the UK. So his message to me said, let me pull it up here. Not his message, but I'm going to read it.
I didn't mean to make this a soft spot for y'all.
We do love you. And
but they are peeing outside.
Right. These are the type of loos we have in Essex. Behind these doors are tiny rooms that have nothing other than a single loo toilet roll holder with tissue paper and a sink with hot water and soap. Hey, at least you get hot water. Our public restrooms often don't have.
It's very interesting that you have the sink in the. We don't. We just have universal sinks. A bunch of sinks in the bathrooms. but they have the sink in the toilet room. That's a lot
Well,
of
we
sinks.
have that too. Like, okay, so like downtown Cincinnati, if you ever come,
oh yeah,
and
there's
visit,
a bunch in there.
There's a bunch of toilets, and each restroom has its own.
Yeah, but that's very
sink
rare
with it.
Most restrooms.
But if you were gonna have each individual enclosed restrooms,
very interesting. No, they don't usually have.
Then you're going to have sinks in there. Like, we're
That's
talking
true.
about just doors. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not talking about you enter into a
Okay,
room
okay,
that
we don't
has
need
doors.
to go into a long thing about doors and restrooms. It's fine.
It's a very soft. I mean, like
Yeah.
you said, this is a very tender issue. Our UK people want us to know that they don't pee in the streets everywhere else. I get it. We feel you. I understand. It's okay. Do you have a song?
No, I don't.
Me neither. What you wanted to sing? Blessed Assurance.
Yeah, we can
on
sing
Friday.
that. We can sing that.
Let's see. Sandhar says criminals always have access to weapons, but that is okay with the left if the rest of us are unarmed.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Britbot says, Michelle, we don't eat a whole person. That's just greedy.
That's
oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to sing?
Yep.
I'm going to start out.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Perfect submission, perfect delight, visions of rapture now burst in my sight. Angels descending, bringing from above echoes of mercy, whispers of love. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Perfect submission, all is at rest. I and my Savior am happy and blessed, watching and waiting, looking above, filled with his goodness, lost in his love. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. So before you go, I wanted to show you guys this. This is going to be going hopefully this week on our new deck.
Here it comes.
A year ago, our second Grandma Marilyn, passed away. We were really close to her, and it was difficult. We weren't exactly expecting it. And Britt Bozett is incredibly talented.
It's dusty.
He
little bit
engraves the most beautiful metalwork on guns, and
he's engraved things for the Queen.
And he made this placard for us
I'm gonna see if I can put this in focus.
In honor of Grandma Marilyn, and that is going to go on our
There
deck.
we go.
And so I'm very excited about this. in memory of, and so I wanted to give a shout out and a thank you for that, and let you know we're anxiously awaiting finding a good spot.
Yes, absolutely. I'm really excited about that too. So I'm glad you pulled that out because that's awesome. Yeah. So speaking of in the chat, they're talking about Dorian. Yes, we have a hurricane coming. No, they don't know where it's going to land yet. Yes, it's a Cat 5 right now. It has hit the Bahamas. So there is that. Yes, there was a shooting last night,
supposedly at a traffic stop
in Texas. It's always, why does it feel like it's always Texas? We did not go live. We did not cover it. We probably won't cover it until Friday's news. Let's wait and see when the chips see where they settle.
The big news is the whole gun debate, and the whole gun thing is ratchet up. And hey, this guy's a criminal. Let's go take all the guns from non-criminals so they can't protect themselves from this criminal. So we have a P.O. box.
107 Milford, Ohio 45150. If you send us your letters, we will read them on air unless otherwise noted.
Yeah.
I need to thank Kelly and all of our moderators, which I haven't thanked in a while. Kelly was on it with the chat, giving links to resistancechicks.com, our Facebook page, our Twitter. So thank you very much for that, Kelly. Apparently, my mom was watching your show last night. And you guys talked about the shooting that happened. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Kelly PB Fam, you need to do so. She's one of our moderators. But Redneck Brit Baza, Maia was here at the beginning. I hope I'm not missing anybody.
You know,
Baker Mom.
I'm praying for the day when your fast fingers will be needed yet again.
Yeah, as moderators, when the trolls come and you have to like get them. Yeah. You know what? I'm feeling optimistic because PragerU is
suing Google right now.
And so we're going to see what happens as a result of that.
Just keep praying, because prayer is what's going to really turn this ship.
Yeah, let's turn this ship around. Remember, guys, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. We want you to please comment. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you have to say. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever's going on in your life, leave the comment. It's not only do we want to hear from you, which we do, and we do read every comment, but the comments help the algorithms, I think, the more comments. So even if you left a ton of comments in the chat, go ahead and leave the things that you put in the live chat. Leave them. They're pertinent. Leave them after the show. So thank you guys for being with us.
Especially on the UK bathroom. Set us straight.
Set us straight. That's right. We love you. God loves you. And God bless.
I was cold, all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid. But you called my name.